Bards! I love them, I can't get enough of them. These larger-than-life musicians and storytellers allow for such great RP on top of having a really interesting, flexible and fun class to play as. But does your bard always have to be this grand narrator or walking live performance? Don't you think there are other things you could do with your walking charisma bomb? Of course there are! And that is what we're going to have a look at today. Welcome to the Attic Dungeon. My name is Sam, and whether it's tuning your instrument or becoming the ultimate live performer, I'm here to help you with everything. In this RP series, our goal is twofold. One, we look at class stereotypes and see how you can improve on them, how to really make this character come alive. And two, more importantly, we look at ways to play this class that step away from the traditional stereotypes associated with it. So first we're going to have a look at how to improve RPing a bard. What can you do to make your bard a cut above the rest when playing a traditional storyteller or charismatic musician? I'm convinced that most of you are very capable of playing a bard in general. You are the face of the party, you probably have high swag, and you can convince a rock to jump up in the air. But I am here to fill in the nooks and crannies. The devil is in the details, the warlock would say, so we're going to have a look at how to make your bard into a superstar. Let's have a look at how you could handle some basic bard abilities. At level 1 there are two bardic abilities to look at. Spellcasting and Bardic Inspiration, and they can be roughly RP'd in a similar fashion, but the question that you always have to ask when working out a character concept is, how is my bard making this happen? What is happening when I cast spells? Am I singing words to bolster my allies? Playing a few chords to entrance enemies? Am I reciting a quick verse from a well-known story to inspire? Am I banging my drum to create a sudden thunder wave to catch enemies off guard? Whatever it is your bard does, make sure you visualize it for others. You're one of the most colorful classes in the book, and you want to show it. There's no need to over-narrate every little thing that your bard does, but if you have a few signature spells that you rely on, it's very nice for everybody that they can just see these happen in their imagination. I'll give you two specific examples to help you visualize what I'm talking about. Imagine your bard is healing a companion with healing word. And healing word really is one of your signature spells. You've been using it a lot. Maybe you could imagine which melody your bard is playing at that moment. Maybe he's playing the first few notes of the Song of Healing from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask to help his companions face the dangers that are ahead. Or maybe you support them by reciting a few verses of poetry and you weave your healing spells that way. How about Dylan Thomas's Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night? If we pick a few lines from that poem, your incantation for the healing spell could be something like, do not go gentle into that good night, but rage against the dying of the light. Now, if I was a berserker barbarian and I was being healed by a spell that way, I could assure you I would pop that frenzy rage I was holding back for exactly this tough fight. Vicious Mockery, possibly the most popular bard cantrip, is also very open to RP. Which insults are you slinging at your enemies? I like to have a list of insults at the ready for when I play a bard. I'm not going to use them every time I cast Vicious Mockery, but generally the first time that I cast it in a fight, I'll pick one of the insults, the one that I think is best suited to sling at the enemy that I've chosen. I tend to make up my own insults as well, or even short rhymes with an insulting punchline. Knock yourselves out. The same goes for Bardic Inspiration. Any of the above means could also work to inspire your allies. Don't just say, yes, I'm giving you a bardic inspiration, I have fun. No, describe what you are doing. Look up the most inspiring pieces of advice, story, or music you can muster and share them with people. Hot diggity damn, you're a bard. You could make ordering an ale at the nearest inn look epic if you invest some time in your character. For Song of Rest at level 2, I like telling my players what type of song or story I'm treating them to. It's often simple and not very detailed. For example, yes, this short rest, my bard is playing a slow and solemn dwarven song about two lovers that can never be together. It's obviously an idea that I very loosely based upon Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. If none of my party members understand Dwarvish, I probably wouldn't even tell them what the song is about unless they ask my character. That's okay. You can see I draw a lot from English literature because that is one of my comfort zones. I don't know everything about it, far from, but I like digging in it to find the right words for the right occasion. So dig in something that you are comfortable in. Music, games, anything. Just develop a list of creative things to do and say when your bard gets to work. You want a real challenge for your bard? I once had a bard who rhymed all the time. Everything he said was in rhyme. This poses some challenge during spontaneous RP as there was no way I could prepare for every situation. I had some standard greetings and responses, but a lot was made up on the spot and hilarity often ensued when Fordin the rhyming bard was on a roll. To put you a bit at ease, I know that I'm asking a lot of some of you out there. I've spent more than half of my life acting on a stage, not professionally, but it still helps to bring a character like the bard, who is very bombastic and colorful, truly to life. If you want to do some of the things that I talked about, ease yourself into it. If your bard starts at level 1, he might be a bit of a performer already, but he's not giving any master classes just yet. Build up your repertoire. Do some prep work before each session. The DM should not be the only one who's doing prep work. Add some songs or verses to the list of things that your bard might use. If you feel at ease with the people that you play with, it will allow you to tread outside your comfort zone and truly embody your character, the class that you're playing. Small side note, don't hog all of the spotlight. Allow other people some time to shine as well and some time to explain how they're doing things. Maybe you putting in some extra work will inspire them to do the same for their character. If that happens, you are truly working together as a party to enhance the story. Maybe a final aspect of your bard to think about are your magical secrets. It can really build more of your character if you know where you're getting these from. I like the idea of a bard befriending a spellcaster and learning something from them. Maybe even picking up a wizard stone somewhere and actually understanding a few spells in there. Surely beats just picking spells from the book when you level up and adding them to your list without any explanation. Consider talking to your dungeon master to set up a small meeting in an inn where you meet a spellcaster that you can talk to, and maybe he or she is willing to teach you the chosen spells. Now that we've covered quite a few things that will make your bard into a very memorable character, let's have a look at some more unconventional ways of playing a bard. As I've demonstrated in the first part, the typical bard is usually a boisterous singer or storyteller, and as much as I love the stereotypes, we're going to have a look at what we can do to change that. Each of these concepts will go against one of the main bard stereotypes, those being the bard as a musician or storyteller, the bard as the social cannonball of the party, or the bard as always being chaotic good, yes, you know who you are. The first concept that I thought of was the bard as a painter. Bards are such masters of illusions and of influencing the environment around them that having one as a painter made so much sense to me. Some minor homebrewing would be in order here. Your DM would have to agree that you use painter's tools as your casting focus instead of musical instruments, but that is really a trivial matter since it changes nothing gameplay-wise. I could easily see a glamour bard with colorful, vivid and reality-altering magic being a painter, creating a more glamorous version of themselves through art, or a lore bard who uses her knowledge of days long gone to create beautiful masterpieces in the world around him. Illusion magic would happen at the stroke of a brush. Maybe even buffs and debuffs could be painted onto their targets. Vicious mockery could paint an insulting image instead of speaking harmful words. Mind you, the verbal component of spells would not change. We're just adding new flavor to tried and true classes and spells. Your painter will still speak the incantations necessary for the spell, but it's the strokes of the brush that bring the magic to life. It would be interesting to see how a painter might conjure a shatter spell. Maybe painting fracture lines towards all of the targets might work. I think it's a nice take on the class for people who are really good at explaining something in a visual way, Or maybe you're a bit of a painter or a drawer yourself and you can actually create art for some of your spells. As a DM, I would gladly award that with inspiration any day of the week. Our next concept is a dancer. Again, a wordless art here, and one well suited to be a bard of the College of Swords. For what could be more deadly or beautiful than a graceful elf dancing with a sword in hand, her movements creating magic, her dancing inviting people to believe in another reality or to be inspired or frightened. The mixture of martial arts and arcane arts come together really nicely in a character that could enthrall you with her dancing just as much as she could slit your throat while doing it. Casting spells would of course involve a lot of graceful movements together with a few small words to complete the incantation. Maybe there's a dance style that appeals to you that you can use to describe what is happening when you're casting spells. Not everything can be a dance, I presume. During short rests, it might be weird to see your bard dance to help other people recover faster, mainly because she has to rest herself as well. So maybe there could be a secondary art that they practice that could fill in this spot, or maybe your bard really has a very soothing personality, and that one can be used for a short rest. A bit of inspirational talking can work out just as well. Going Swords College also solves the issue of dancers not really needing a casting focus. Then again, maybe your dancer is so very talented that they accompany themselves on a flute or a simple drum, and then they can really be any type of bard. A variation on this might be some form of acrobat. The College of Swords description in Senator's Guide to Everything heavily hints towards swords bards being jugglers or other circus acts, so why not play a magical acrobat? The previous characters still invite you to be a very flamboyant bard, but what about playing a more quiet one? Maybe your character possesses huge talent for one of the bardic arts, and because of the dedication that they showed, magic got involved, but they're just not that keen on getting on stage and showing everyone. Maybe they're just shy, maybe they choose their words wisely before they start talking, making them a lot more pensive. In my opinion, this take on the bard opens up the class a bit more to people who feel less comfortable taking the spotlight in the party, as is often expected of the bard. Maybe someone really likes what the bard does on a mechanical level, but is not yet ready to play one as extravagant as the suggestions I've made before in the clip. Don't be afraid to play the quiet bard, people. It's okay. You can still be a very strong force in social encounters, but maybe you just need someone else to break the ice before you step in. Maybe your bard could grow out of the shyness as experience is gained. Or maybe your character actually really loves to perform. They're a total beast on stage, but super hesitant and introvert once they get off. The dancer that I talked about could be the absolute best while dancing, almost hypnotizing people when practicing his art. But apart from that, he has a more hesitant personality, thinking deeply before contributing something to a conversation instead of being the human can opener for every social problem. If any of you out there fancy those cutesy, quiet anime characters, this idea fits that bill nicely. You can still create majestic art and convince people with your insights. You're just not the one who's going to do it by barging down the tavern door while singing What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor. You're the one who does it by just being cute. It also works. Charisma doesn't mean you have to be talkative all the time. It means you have the ability to influence people by whatever way. Next concept. We are now going to walk away from the bard as a chaotic good force in the party, and we're going to turn them into a more lawful idea by making them into a military character. Imagine that your bard was a bannerman or a drummer in the military. His responsibility was to keep up morale while inspiring fear into the heart of their enemies. Well suited to the College of Valor, Swords, or a multi-class with a fighter or a paladin, this bard has received formal military training and has the very specific role in the army of keeping up the morale. leading the troops into battle, making sure their courage would not waver. And because of the magical power that the bard possesses, this character is very apt at doing so. It can still be a very good face of the party, it's still going to have super high charisma, but you will adhere to a more militaristic set of rules when it comes to handling business. Less making deals under the table and more actually making deals where nobody will get the short end of the stick. This could be a great character for picking up the Inspiring Leader feat. It allows you to rally the troops even more by providing temporary hit points for the entire party every short rest. Maybe you're even willing to spend a magical secret on the Aid spell or on Hero's Feast to maximize your HP inspiring potential. A solid instrument choice would be the drum, but maybe your bannerman has a softer side and played the lute at the campfire in the evening. A fun little idea that I've been playing with: if you take a College of Swords bard and manage to get shield proficiency from some multiclass, you could pretend to be banging your shield instead of an actual drum to keep tune, seeing as your casting focus is a weapon and not the instrument. A Valor Bard can kind of achieve the same. They already have the shield proficiency. If they manage to get a hold of a Ruby of the War Mage, you can also turn your weapon into your casting focus and start banging that drum again. In my head, it's really nice to cast stuff like Thunderwave, for example. Our final concept involves your bard being a conman. It's a fun take on any bard, maybe even a multiclass with rogue. It doesn't really matter which college you follow. Any bard can be a conman. The idea is that you make yourself appear even grander than you are. Make other people believe that you are a true hero. Get your party into more trouble than they already are. But no, seriously, the College of Whispers introduces a darker turn on the bard with blackmail and everything. Maybe you're not that deep into dark secrets, but you're just really good at making people believe things, whether they're true or not. Your art is being a fraud. Yes, it's wonderful. Your words carry enormous powers. It might also be a nice fit for the Unearthed Arcana's College of Eloquence if your DM is willing to allow it. It steps away from being this grand orator and we turn the college into being more of a little frauding sneak. Maybe you're traveling with a fighter and you make all the people that you encounter believe that this fighter is the best fighter. My god, the tales that I could tell you of the mighty encounters that he has had, the foes he has vanquished, the monsters he has slain. While in reality you're both just level 1 characters, but you're getting the attention of the people and they're offering you jobs, and that's what you really wanted. There is no way this could go wrong now, is there? That's all I have for you today. Hopefully you are now under the effect of heaps and heaps of bardic inspiration. Whether you want to play the true and tried classic bard and take it to the next level, or maybe one of the less traditional concepts has inspired you to create a bard and show the world what true art can look like. Tell me what concepts you have come up with for a bard and how those played out, or just which ideas you might have to take this most creative of classes to the next level. If you want to experience the next ideas that sprout from my brain, don't hesitate to subscribe, and then we'll see each other again in the Attic Dungeon.